Was machst du? Say Chaim. Chaim Libracha.
How many Flamingan? There's 2 Flamingan?
Well, I didn't know there was a Flamingan. No, this is not. This is the. I don't know. This is a class. Yeah. This is Rabbi Ben Yamson. This is Matis. Eitan. We'll be down there in a second. Yeah.
You have to wait to drink.
Huh?
You have to wait to drink.
If you say the bracha, yeah. After you say the bracha, you can drink.
Okay.
Yeah. Say L'chaim. Yeah.
Fine.
Chaim, Chaim. Oh man.
One thing, so they wanted to be here? No.
They thought it was here.
They thought it was here.
Yeah. So funny.
Oh, we got to start thinking of big Sarah. We need to get more here.
That's fine.
This is a similar to mine. We need to somehow accomplish a lot of people.
Okay, you're right. I might have to go out if the battery runs out. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Yeah, the name of still in lead. Right. So Hashem is giving us a special opportunity. Today is Chaf Menachem, which is mentioned in the Sikha on a footnote. Actually, there was a long Sikha during the week, and in the Mugadik Sikha went only into the footnote. Sometimes that's how it is, that a Sikha is based on a number of Sikhas. Like in the Parashas Kisisa also, the Dvar Malchus Kisisa also has it's made up of a number of different days. They made a composition of all the sikhs together, and at the end of the sikha there's a very long footnote. It takes up the whole page. A very long footnote, and that whole footnote actually was a sikha. That was a separate sikha. They made it into a very long footnote. So, what the Rebbe says is that the idea of the month of Elul, which we're coming to, which is the month of preparation for Rosh Hashanah and all the new year, all that will be in it. So the preparation is in this month that we're coming to, which is called the month of Elul. Which is going to be next week, is going to begin. And already this Shabbos, it's Shabbos of Archim, we bless the new month. On the Shabbos, and we're going to be blessing the month of Elul. And the month of Elul, the Avodah, our service of Hashem, is mainly from our efforts. It's not like the very amazing holiday month of Tishrei, which is a month of many holidays in it, and it's more of a spiritual uplifting month. The month of Elul is a regular month. There's no specific biblical holiday in it. There's a lot of Hasidic holidays in it, but there's no biblical holiday in it. And it's more, it explains in Hasidus, so more of a regular month. And the idea is that we, on our own initiative, should approach and come close to Hashem. That's the idea of the month of Elul. And even in the lowest, the idea is to take the lowest and go step by step up. And that's the great achievement of Rabbi Levi Yitzchak Schneerson, the father of the Rebbe. Malchus says that even in the state of the lowest, because he was exiled, he was in communist Russia, Ukraine, and at that time, towards the end of his life, which was in the early 1920s, the 1930s, until he passed away in 1944. So that during those times, communism was very strong in Russia, and he was a very great rabbi. He was a chief rabbi of Ukraine, chief rabbi of he had a very high position, and it was not very easy to keep his position and do what he had to do, which was to keep Judaism according to all the laws in communist Russia. So he was under very great constant attempt to put him in prison for his activities of keeping Judaism according to the law.
All the Chabad rabbis went to prison. All the Chabad rabbis.
Besides for our Rebbe,
Apparently, he went to prison in France.
Something, right? But it's not we
Not the same,
don't significantly
Right.
say
It's not.
it's not. But yeah, this is the only. Well, this is not a Rebbe. Rabbi Levi Yitzchak was not a Rebbe, and he was the only one that actually Tayyid did not come out.
Mm.
All the rabbis of Chabad, they were all released from prison. They never stayed there permanently. But Rabbi Levi Yitzchak actually, he was sent to prison and then afterwards sent to exile, which the situation in exile was very, very terrible. It was and it wasn't health from the perspective of health. It was very, very not a healthy area,
Like a third world country.
and they didn't.
Mosquitoes everywhere. Yeah.
They didn't give any assistance, to say the least, in helping people. So they were doing the opposite. The area was very, very, very terrible. So in that situation, and still in that state, he succeeded in doing a lot of good for whoever he could help. And he wrote a lot of his commentaries, which we have today, published books of the commentaries he wrote when he was in exile on the Zohar and different things that he did at that time. Even in the lowest, like that's the idea, even in the lowest of the circumstances. So the idea has to do with the parsha because Akev means the lowest part of your body. Akev means the parsha this week begins with the word Akev, which Akev means the heel, which is the lowest part of your body. And the idea is to be able to ascend from the lowest and transform even the lowest. And the emphasis is going from below to above. And that was by Rabbi Levi Yitzchak, and that has to be by all of our avodah. It has to be going from below to above. Now the Dvar Malchus says that in this Sikha is telling us already that Elul is not only that. Elul is not only going from below to above. Elul is also from above to below. And there's a big emphasis in this Sikha and in the next Sikha about there being a union between us and Hashem. It's not only that we are trying to take our steps up towards Hashem, but it's also that Hashem is coming to us, even in the month of El. In other words, in general, we were thinking that that's more the month of Tishrei, that Hashem is coming to us. It's a revelation of Hashem. That's more the month of Tishrei. But in these sichas, the Rebbe is saying that that's already in the month of Elul. It's already the great revelation of Hashem, and that we, in other words, practically speaking, we shouldn't only take what we call in English, like so to say, baby steps. Like we're only taking things little by little, but we also have to have a realization that we have a neshama, that from our body, truthfully speaking, our body has to take things step by step. But in the perspective that we have a neshama, we have a godly soul, that gives us the ability that we don't have to take things step by step. It gives us the ability that things could be done on a exceedingly high level, befitting the fact that we have in us a portion of Hashem. We have a part of Hashem in us. So we don't have to be limited. We could be on a very spiritually high level and start already from the beginning on a high level. So that's the idea, to have both. But the main emphasis in this sikha is mainly on the ascending from below to above, taking step by step, and working hard without expecting to get revelations from Hashem. Without what is that? Right.
From below to above.
Exactly, from below to above. Not expecting to wait for a sign from heaven. Not to wait for that. We got to do things on our own. We got to do what Hashem wants from us because we know that's what we're supposed to do. Not wait for signs from heaven. Not wait for major inspiration from Hashem. We got to do things on our own too.
Do work.
Work hard, even if we don't feel any inspiration. Okay, that's the main emphasis in the sikha. Okay, obviously the Rebbe says already is bringing this new idea in, that you need to have the other way also. You need to have the high inspiration, and you need to see that you got the high inspiration. That's more the next sikha, more emphasizing the high inspiration that you got in you a neshama, so you got a high inspiration. No matter what, you always have that high inspiration, and you have to realize it more. And Hashem is constantly giving us also signs, and it's not just to keep our eye out for it. And the more we study, and the more we know, the more we see that Hashem is constantly guiding us, and it's certain. So they got to keep that in mind too. Okay? But their main emphasis is on this. Now, a number of things in the sikha that are about this. So an interesting thing in this sikha is about the Tanya, which is the fundamental book of Chassidus. Was published in Braille, which is the letters that a blind person could read, and that was the first time the Tanya was published in Braille, which gave access, the Rebbe said, to even people that didn't have ability to see, which is bringing the Chassidic teachings to even this group of Jewish people. And the Rebbe said this is the final group of Jewish people that we have not reached, which that was the blind people. And by doing that, we have accomplished, even reaching these people, we have accomplished spreading the well springs of Hasidus into the entire world. And therefore, it's understood why Mashiach has to come immediately. Because we already completed, the Baal Shem Tov said that Mashiach will come when the well springs of Hasidism are spread to everywhere. And by doing this, we accomplish that as well. So the Rebbe says that the blind are going to be healed first. It says that in the Gula, in the redemption, Hashem is going to heal all those that are sick. And the first ones Hashem is going to heal are the blind. That they will also be able to see. Which is a pasuk, there's a verse that says, then Hashem will open up the eyes of the blind. And we say actually every morning in our morning blessings, we say Pekech Ivrim, it's very similar to that. Hashem opens the eyes of our blind. Because every morning when we wake up, we're like blind because we weren't able to see the whole night. We wake up in the morning, then we're able to see. And then the Gula says Hashem will take away that. So I was just earlier today, my wife was teaching the Sikha, and the idea that we always think of when we see the Sikha is that the moment Rabbi Schneerson is certainly in 770 is a Shiach as a result of everyone doing their part. We can see it clearly. The problem is we don't see it with our own eyes, and we don't see the Rebbe. Malchus says with our own eyes, and the idea there is that we're like blind. That's the only way to explain it. That we're so to say blind. How are we blind? So there, in general, it says that it seems that Mashiach is a very great light. There's a mimer from the Rebbe who says that I just saw yesterday in Tashmim Tes from Chayel Tashmim Tes, which was right before the year of Tafshin Nun. Tafshin Nun was the year, first time, the Rebbe says they announced that we can know it's the year Mashiach is revealed, and announcing that behold, humble ones are your redemption has arrived, and the time of your humble one, the time of your redemption has arrived, and that medrash, this Yahrtzeit Shemini, humble ones, the time of your redemption has arrived. It begins Kumi Oiri Kivarach. That's the medrash in Yahrtzeit Shemini. Begins Kumi Oiri Kivarach. So the kuntris, the mimer that came out for Chayil Tashim and Tes, which was a year before about a year before the Rebbe said that for the first time that we can already say Mashiach is announcing that humble one's time of redemption has arrived. A year before that, around a year before that, the Rebbe says printed this mimer Kumi Oiri Kivarach, which is about this Yahrtzeit Shemini, and which is talking about the great amount of light that Mashiach is going to have. So Mashiach is such a great light. It says, why is a blind person, as mentions in the Sikha, why does a person have, heaven forbid, no ability to see? Because he's lacking the filters that are able to only take in a certain amount of light. And a blind person doesn't have those filters, so too much light is entering the eye, and that causes them to be blind.
It's not that there's not enough light. It's the opposite. There's too much light.
Too much light. That's why they're called the Sagi Nar. That's why they call it. They have a lot of light in the Talmud, in the Gemara. A person that's blind is called Sagi Nar, meaning they have a lot of light. Why? Because the eye of a blind person is lacking the filters which only let a certain amount of light in the eye.
So you look right at the sun.
Right, exactly. That's how a blind person is always looking. So what it means technically, it's hard to understand these things, and we hope we don't need to understand it anymore. Is that the Rebbe says the Rebbe, says that he's unique in that he's in 770. It's hard to say at the moment. We're not seeing him. So the schools that we have, Hashem's help, to soon be able to see the Rebbe. Says so. A number of things that are in the Sikha maybe that hit my mind. So among them is the idea of preparing the whole week for Shabbos. It speaks in the Sikha about the whole week you should prepare for Shabbos, which is this idea of because it explains in the Sikha that Shabbos in the weekdays is the difference between the soul and the body. Avoid the service of working your way up from below to above, or working your way from above to below. So Shabbos is more the above to below, because on Shabbos you're not working and you're dedicating yourself to Hashem, and you're in a more spiritual sense. Things are done in a more uplifted state and a more amazing state on Shabbos. And the weekdays is more the step by step. And the Rebbe says the idea of preparing, like Beis Shammai, it says he would prepare the whole week for Shabbos. And the Rebbe says the brings it. The Alter Rebbe says that even Beis Hillel agreed that it's better to do like Beis Shammai. That already from the beginning of the week you should prepare. The way Beis Shammai did it is that he would buy something nice on Sunday for Shabbos, and he would say, "This is for Shabbos." But then Monday came and he found something even nicer, so he would eat up the one he bought on Sunday, and he would buy the nicer one and keep that for Shabbos. That's what he would do the whole week.
But Hillel would do that.
Hillel was every day was for the day. So Friday was for Shabbos. That was it. He didn't prepare from the beginning of the week. But it does say also that Hillel was more on the poverty state and Beis Shammai was the wealthy ones. So that's, I guess, because it says even Beis Hillel agreed that Beis Shammai's opinion is better to start already from the beginning. of the week to prepare for Shabbos. The idea is that even your weekday matters should be done in a lofty manner. It should be in the wording of the Sikh, in a Shabbos-tic way. It should be in a Shabbos, in tune with Shabbos, the whole week. So that's another thing in the Sikha, and then another thing in this Sikha. The Rebbe says that you're going to think it's from below to above, then you have the idea that it says we are all made of earth, and to earth we're going to return. But the Rebbe says it doesn't mean it literally. It doesn't mean we're going to return to earth literally. It means that we're going to be submitted like earth. That's what the Rebbe says right away. We shouldn't think that there's an end. There's no end. We're at a no end. There's no dead end.
Yeah.
No dead end. That's it. So the idea of returning to the earth is not in the literal sense, rather it's in the spiritual sense, in the meaning of it being a state of humility, like dust. So that's another interesting point in the Sila. And then another thing was, recently I was researching the Hashem's help. The Rebbe Yitzchak writes, because I was researching for this new project. I just realized today that when I went to give the Rebbe the Sefer made out of all these booklets every week, that Hashem's help, we were preparing a booklet to be some form of preparation or something for Likkutei Sichos.
It's written like, I don't know how many books, 15?
You read books?
My wife and I, Baruch Hashem, we have a lot. So this is every week since Yudal Kislev, practically every week. Can't say exactly every week. And then with Hashem's help, for Yudal Nisan, we made a book. And then when we were by the Rebbe, which says for our daughter's Bas Mitzvah, for the Yechidus Klalis, I gave the book to the Rebbe, and then I realized the booklets after that we gave the book to the Rebbe, began to be the real thing. Because until that, all the booklets were made up of siches that were already edited. And it was just, so to say, like renewing something was already done. And then since we gave that book to the Rebbe, I realized when I was writing it up last night, since then, all the booklets are not from edited siches, which is an amazing thing, because until I started using edited siches, which when I started this on Yudal Kislev, I tried already with stomach 3 times to do this project, and it never worked. And only when I started using edited siches did it work. And Baruch Hashem, so I was successful in putting out a booklet every week for like 12 weeks. We were able to make a book out of it. And then, after I gave that to the Rebbe, now I have the ability to make it out of a Bilti Mugan. It's getting somewhere. It's still like in between, but it's the next stage. So obviously, Baruch Hashem, we're getting there.
Is it on PDF?
It's PDF also, yeah.
Yeah, I can share it. I don't know. If you want.
Maybe. So why am I mentioning this? Okay, so in Tashin Lamed Gimel, the Rebbe is speaking about a letter from Reb Levi Yitzchak about the meaning of the name of the month of Elul. So I was looking at it and I realized there's something very interesting, because the Rebbe speaks about what Reb Levi Yitzchak is writing, and the Rebbe says that Reb Levi Yitzchak says that Elul, the word Elul, the Hebrew word Elul, is made up of the word Oy and Lamed is Elul. Take it easy. So it's Oy and Lamed, and to make a long story short, the idea is that taking the Oy, which Oy, Aleph Vav Oy, that's referring to Malchus, and it's, to make a long story short, the Rebbe says that the Rebbe that Rabbi Levi Yitzchak, the Rebbe's father, explains it in his way. Okay, and the simple question that the Rebbe asked about it as to why the word "oi" has to do with Malchus, and to make a long story short, there's a very big. After reading some of it to some degree, I realized that there's a very big difference between what Rabbi Levi Yitzchak is writing and what the Rebbe Malchus is explaining. Okay, obviously they're explaining the same thing, and but there's a big difference in at least my humble opinion.
Between
between what Rebbe Levi Yitzchak writes and what the Rebbe Malchus explains about this topic.
Right.
Okay, so when you look at what Rebbe Levi Yitzchak is writing, Rebbe Levi Yitzchak is writing is that there's a difference between the month of Menachem Av and the month of Elul. Okay, the month of Menachem Av is the month that we had the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash.
That's the month we're in now.
Right, this month, right? And the month of Elul is the month after that. And he explains over there that Malchus, in the time of the destruction of Beis Hamikdash, so it's like Malchus was destroyed. And then the month of Elul, which is the following month, is the month of the building of Malchus. That's what he explains, and he explains that Oi is Malchus, and it's Elul is the idea of Malchus being rebuilt. Okay, so in other words, there is relatively not such a positive connotation to the whole thing, because as much as Elul is a positive, but it's positive in response to a negative. That the month of Menachem Av is a negative. The month of Av is negative, and then we have the next month of Elul, which is the positive rectification of that. Now the Rebbe says that has a very much, in a certain way, different perspective, and that sicha of what this is. And the Rebbe says there's explaining a little bit different, that it's the Elul doesn't mention anything about Av in that sicha, and it's explaining that Elul is a transition. The way the Rebbe says explains it is that the word Oi is anyway, it's a transition from the year going by to the coming year, and that's the two words. The Elul is made up of two words, Loi and Loi with a Vav and Loi with an Aleph, because Loi with a Vav and Loi with an Aleph is the two possibilities. The months going by is Loi with a Vav, that you're looking at all the details of your Avodah, and you have to correct everything that you were doing the whole year that needs to be corrected. That's Loi with a Vav. And then Loi with an Aleph, that's the level of Keser. Loi with a Vav is Das. And Loi with an Aleph is Keser. They're both Malchus, but there's Malchus of Das, that's in Malchus. That's Loi with a Vav. And Loi with an Aleph is Keser, that's in Malchus. And that's how Elul is a preparation for the new year, which is not looking at the details of our Avodah, rather that Hashem chose us no matter what. That's Loi with an Aleph. And that's like how the new year starts, that Hashem chooses us no matter what. And that's why Elul has in it both. And it says there that also in Levi Yitzchak, that Lamed is Bina, and Bina is the idea of Tshuva, and it's also in